Superheroes, movies, superhero movies, they're all the rage nowadays. In fact, it's hard to find any other non-superhero movie in the theaters. A huge one just came out recently, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. However, it wasn't well received. Let's see if the NES DC superhero games fare any better.
Good day, citizens! This game review is sponsored by Marvel's Captain America: Civil War, in theaters only, May 6th.
Oh god, not you again! I already reviewed your game years ago, and this is DC superheroes today. This isn't sponsored by Marvel, Disney, or anyone else.
Disney does what they want, when they want. Got it?
No, that's not...
Got it?
Alright, it's time to start the review and figure out which game is better, Batman or Superman. But before we start, I have to fix something really... This just feels dumb. Sorry, this feels dumb, this cape thing. Sorry. No, that's not working at all. Ah, that's much better.
The Batman Flip-Down Beanie, the official flip-down beanie of Marvel's Captain America: Civil War. See it May 6th, only in theaters.
How do you expect anyone to take this video seriously? Batman, developed and released by Sunsoft in 1990, hot off the heels of the 1989 blockbuster film. Here's the story. Batman has to take down the Joker. That's it. Remember, in the movie, the awful decision was made to have the Joker be the one who actually killed Bruce Wayne's parents. Yeah. We begin with Batman driving and getting out of his Batmobile nowhere near Gotham City. That's a long walk. Maybe he's gonna get an Uber. Topical humor, and the words on the screen make it funnier. Ha, 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 ha. Batman is an action platformer played over 5 stages that loosely follows the film's plot. The player will have to take out thugs, robots, and more while attacking and jumping precariously around. Besides his punch, Batman has 3 different weapons at his disposal that can be switched by pressing start. A gun, which I thought Batman didn't like using, a triple split disc, and his trusty Batarang. Each uses the same ammo dropped by defeated enemies. There is a liberal amount to go around, so while you can rely on the punch most of the time, you shouldn't have to. Jeez, Batman's using that guy's balls like a speed bag. The split disc isn't too powerful but can be useful in certain situations to get at hard to reach enemies. The Batarang is strongest and is most useful. The gun, however, should be avoided. Yes, it has a long range, but it's kind of weak, like most of the jokes I have planned for this video. One of the coolest features of the game is the fact that Batman can wall jump, not unlike in Ninja Gaiden. Batman can do single jumps or ping pong back and forth from walls on either side to advance up narrow columns. In fact, several parts of stages are designed specifically to use this feature, like the insane final cathedral level that has gears that can hurt Batman that he must avoid. The player cannot control the length of the wall jump, so it has to be judged where to hit the wall to jump off of so you don't over or underdo it. Batman has a nice 8-hit health bar, which is needed due to the challenge you'll encounter. Hearts are sometimes dropped, but they are scarce, and each only fills 1 increment of the health bar. When you die, which has Batman flaming up for some reason, you'll restart at the beginning of the current level, and continuing is an option. And you'll need all the help you can get to take out not only the standard and flame-throwing thugs, but the more difficult ones like the cannon tank, the rocket pack enemy, and the annoying Jader, which is a bouncy monster that the Joker made himself, according to the manual. Getting a little creative here, Sunsoft. The bosses are also strange, including the Killer Moth, and the second stage is Machine Intelligence, which is arguably the toughest boss in the game, and probably a part of the factory where they produce the Calico Chameleon. Then there's Electrocutioner, who could have been Sparkman in a previous life.
Did somebody say Sparkman? Mega Man 3, the official Mega Man game of Marvel's Captain America: Civil War. Catch it May 6th, only in theaters.
I will not be made a fool of in my own video! Obviously, none of these enemies have anything to do with the film, as I don't quite recall the scene where Batman battled moving shipping crates. It's almost like a reverse Journey to Silius, also put out by Sunsoft, where they were developing a totally different game and then slapped the Batman license on at the last instant. Hey, it's a ninja from the League of Shadows. I loved me some Liam Neesons. So at the final stage, when you finally get to the top of the cathedral's bell tower, you'll face another Mega Man inspired villain before taking on the Joker, who is 4 feet taller than Batman, and he attacks with lightning bolts. Wait, what? Source material accuracy for the win! The Joker is tough at first, and when he kills you, you'll have to start all the way back at the beginning of the stage. Fluffernutter! But when you figure out how to defeat him by steadily attacking and pushing him back towards the bells on the right, you'll win! Yay! Batman, now you can bring Joker to justice. Oh! Instead of capturing him, Batman murders the Joker by punching him off the top of the bell tower to his death. Why? Who would have Batman killing people? That's against the comics. That's against the character. Still, this is a very well-polished game with great animation, fun action, a difficulty that should be just right for most players, and nice level design that keeps things interesting. Of course, there's the standard but great Sunsoft soundtrack, which thumps along nicely. And there's even some cutscenes thrown in, like the Batmobile shooting through a door to a U-Haul storage unit. Time to clear out my NES collection. And Vicky Vale is mentioned at the intro screen, but is nowhere to be found in the game. She stood Bruce up. There are actually more cutscenes for the prototype version, but they were left out of the final release. Not sure why. Is the game perfect? Of course not. Some of the sections with inventive use of wall jumping require absolute perfection, and Batman is a little bit too slow to properly respond to a few enemies. And the game's fairly short once you get the hang of it. But for a licensed Batman NES movie game, you can't ask for a whole lot more. That was pretty good. Now it's time to see if Superman can fight back and win this battle.
Superman? He's got nothing on the Shadow, Doc Savage, and the Phantom.
Let me guess, Ned, those are all pulp heroes that came before superheroes did, right?
Superhero? What's that?
Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. Superman, developed and released by Kemco in 1988. Here's the story. Superman must save Metropolis from Lex Luthor, General Zod, and other nefarious elements through a handful of missions in this action-adventure title. Naturally, you're told the story by a talking Statue of Liberty, who also lets Superman know that he's Clark Kent, just in case Superman forgot that little detail. I think Superman's tripping on some bad kryptonite here. He'll fight for truth, justice, but screw the American way. I mean, that's lame, right?
If Superman doesn't love America, he can get out!
You start each mission at the Daily Planet, where you'll talk to Lois Lane and Perry White to find out the objective. As Clark, you can jump really high in front of them with no real reaction on their part. Well, if they're too dumb to figure out that you're Superman through a bad disguise, I guess jumping 40 feet high in front of them won't do it either. You can even talk with photographer Jimmy Olsen. Check out the schnoz. It's nice to see him show up here and not as a CIA agent getting shot in the head by terrorists. Spoilers! Most of the game takes place on the streets of Metropolis, a large, sprawling area that you can see on the map screen, along with your location. Let's start with the art style. It's cute and cartoony with its mini-people, almost Lego-like. I personally think it's charming, but hey, you may prefer your comic book video game to look less, comic-looking. As Clark and Superman, the main weapon is a little fist attack to take out enemies, like gangsters, ghosts, zombies, and kung fu little people. Right away, you should find a phone booth and change your duds to become Superman, since he's faster, stronger, and can jump higher when dressed in his cape and tights. There's zero reason to ever be Clark Kent, although you'll strangely revert back to him when low on power. Why? Are the outfits somehow magical and can detect how hurt you are? Who could possibly think that was a good idea? Shoo shoo! Go away, Zack Snyder! To keep your power level raised, you can collect the blue crystals that fling out the skulls of defeated enemies. But sometimes they will release red and green kryptonite, which will drain power if touched. At times, these can even fly out of the background. What? I thought kryptonite was some rare rock, and here it's as common as silent service. Ah, what a glorious day! The sun is shining and the birds are singing! The world is dark and cold. I'm going back to bed. Missions consist of traveling from location to location, talking to people to get clues to go to the next location, according to the FBI. You are the FBI! According to Pat, that's some bad writing. What, did Zack Snyder do this too? Alright, I'm gonna stop with that. Superman also has to take out specific enemies and sometimes boss characters, usually contained inside buildings. Besides the primary fist attack, there are several secondary special powers to deal with specific situations and enemies. Each power has their own meter that can be replenished by icons that just about every enemy flings in the air when they're defeated. There's the good old X-ray vision that you can use to see ghosts and ghost cats. Yes, these Fraggle Rock looking things are ghost cats according to the manual, but you can't see through women's clothing. Not that you'd want to see naked Lego ladies, or maybe you do. I'll try not to judge. The Super Spin is used to tunnel underground. You truly only need it once in the game. Heat Vision is a ranged attack. Super Breath 1 is only used to extinguish the fluffy fire beasts. And Super Breath 2 is used only to freeze the zombies, not the band that Frank likes, who you can then defeat with your punch. There are 2 other powers to mention. The Super Hearing will allow Superman to see an alert on the main screen and sometimes on the map, signifying an objective or mini-mission to seek out, for example, taking down some bank robbers. If Supes defeats all the enemies in the building, he'll receive an icon upgrade to one of his powers to increase its meter length. The remaining power, and the one that you'll think Go-Go is in the game, is Flight. No, not this high-jumping trash, but actual Superman flight. As stated before, the Metropolis map is large, and running back and forth across it from location to location can take quite some time and can be, quite frankly, boring. The flight power will allow Superman to select one of 2 locations to fly to, dependent upon the current spot he is on the map. Unfortunately, you cannot select any location from any spot, but then if they did that, the game would only take 20 minutes to get through. Then there's the really weird subways. At the start of Mission 2, undercover CIA agent Jimmy Olsen will give you a free subway pass to use to get to different parts of the map. How undignified is it for Superman to stoop to using public transportation? And what's with the scary shadow people? And why is Superman so short in comparison to the rest of the subway car? Is he a little person? There are also underground areas you can access via ladders to get to different regions of Metropolis, which are mostly notable for giving you a chance to see Superman tippy-toe twerk when climbing ladders. Working, Supes! This is definitely not a top-notch game by any means, but it at least tries to do something different with its semi-open world. There are a lot of different locations, random buildings to go into to take out enemies, and even goofy citizens you can talk to. I'm in a hurry. You're not moving! Haven't you seen the movie Superman? You mean the original? The one that people actually like? The Daily Planet is best, isn't it? You suck up. By the way, you are very loudly dressed. Is this dork in that awful striped sweater telling Superman how to dress? And is he giving him the middle finger? Knock him out, Supes! Chinese noodles? Pizza? Talking about favorite foods? Did I just open up my Mitomo app? You can also view the Statue of Liberty if you'd like. Up, up, and away! Ah! Not much else to say here. The gameplay is average, the music not great but not awful, and your patience in playing more might be taxed by all the running across Metropolis that you must do. It does not end. Still, the goofy stuff here makes it harmless to me, such as the big-headed clowny Lex Luthor, the great Gene Hackman would not approve, or after you capture robbers and have to deliver them to the police. Here, they appear as an item next to your subway pass. So did Superman just stuff them into his red undies? I hope for the sake of those criminals that the Man of Steel doesn't suffer from swamp ass. Hey, Man of Stink, I'm dying here. Why don't you use that super breath to air out your tights? But what really irks me is the scantily clad woman with a whip. That has no place in a game like this, or anywhere else for that matter. It's not wholesome. Kids should not be subjected to that. It's dirty and disgusting. So if I had to decide between Batman and Superman, I'd have to go with Batman. It's the superior title with more interesting gameplay elements, better graphics, and awesome music. Well, that's all for this episode. Check me out next time when I review...
I am Storm, Mistress of the Elements. I command you to play the NES X-Men games.